Georgia, Australia, Iceland, yes, Tbilisi, Sydney, Reykjavik. We are going global in this next set of reviews. Shall we talk about it? Let's do this! Whether you're down under, whether you're in Tbilisi, or whether you're over in where?
Reykjavik.
That's right, I forgot. You can order a MyHeritage DNA kit. In any case, let's kick this off with Georgia. Oto Nemsadze. I was getting all the feels during his first rehearsal, very Game of Thrones, and I'm still getting those feels now in his second rehearsal, which remains very Game of Thrones. I love the opening shot where you see him standing there, and behind him are kind of 6 or 7 shadowy figures, duplicates of him, you know, representing the Georgian people at large. We see the Georgian mountains, they flash. Yeah. You know, there's almost like a war cry. The song is a call for peace and an end to war. And at one point, which I didn't notice last time, he turns to his 5 backing vocalists and he's singing to them. And the lyrics are something like, "We heal each other's wounds with song." It's actually quite powerful. He is telling a story. It's musical, it's theatrical. And, you know, everyone laughed when this did well in our poll in semifinal 1. But bizarrely, this is actually now visually one of the most arresting songs in this semifinal.
Yeah, I mean, I have probably been one of the biggest critics of this song, and even I had to acknowledge today it's in a much better place than it was on Sunday. They've kind of, it doesn't make any sense to say it, but they've taken the aggression sting out of it without it not still being an aggressive song. Yeah. So it still has the same kind of power and resonance, but it's no longer kind of the onslaught that it was on Sunday, because there is still barbed wire in the sky, and he is still objectively has a slow vocal, but he has variation in tone, so also he's not screaming all the time. The visuals of kind of a world on fire that come in and everything burning down into hell, it's not as off-putting as it was. It is still not to my personal taste, but I now see how this is kind of broader and more accessible than it was on the Sunday. And even I can't discount this from qualifying. I have to concede it to the Georgians. They have tweaked and refined the product to make it more palatable.
Yeah, really, really strong again. And actually, I think this is the dark horse to qualify if you want to put a risky bet on, because he's a really, really good vocalist. And yes, there is the aggression. And I think the fact that now, when you look at the national final, like, everything going on around him didn't match up with Otto and his passion, and now everything there is that passion there just throughout it. Georgia have thrown a lot at the staging in this, and whereas with maybe like a Belarus, I feel like it's a bit too much. Now I think it's just right for Georgia. It's very apocalyptical, it's very war-torn kind of landscape, but that works for what he's selling. Yeah, very, very strong. I could see it qualifying. I think it'll be on the bubble, but I can see some jurors really, really getting this. You know, we know that there are more men on the jury. We know that it's a slightly older jury. They're the kind of people that might just vote for this kind of rock.
There are people who love musical theater. Yeah. And like, this is like a rock musical. We Will Rock You by Oto Nemsadze. In any case, the next country is Australia, and my God, this is beautiful. You know what? In the first run through, we were all impressed, but there were still moments where you're like, Shayna's space. She's in Tel Aviv on a stage, because like the augmented reality Earth looked a little weird at the beginning. They've now, at least in the run-throughs that I saw, you don't see the Earth initially. You just see them floating, and then the Earth appears later. It's only after the fact you realize they're in space. It works really well. It does not look cheap. All of the problems which were technical, not related to Kate, have been solved, it seems. I don't even mind when you see the poles. They spin at you. They like fly at you. And it's like the stars are moving away at the same time she's spinning forward. So it almost feels like a virtual reality situation here, where this woman is flying at you from the TV screen. It's just beautiful. This is among the most, maybe it is the most futuristic act we've ever seen. These ladies, Elphaba's out in space, y'all. Okay, call NASA. But it's stunning. Like, I see no universe, see what I did there, in which this does not qualify. This is in a competition noted for starscapes. This is by far the best starscape ever.
I mean, she took us to the stratosphere on Sunday. We've now exited the atmosphere altogether. This was another level of fantastic, because it's right to say Sunday I spent most of the day kind of gawping at her rehearsals and being like and this just got better and tighter. She's not been swallowed up by the afternoon. And also, the actual bit that I think has been criticised in Zero Gravity, the Nothing Holding Me Down, where it kind of drifts away into nothing. She now like flies away to the Earth, but you get a whole sense of there not being gravity. There's just so many smart little touches. Like, there are air cannons that shoot up her dress, so she appears weightless as you're doing gravity, so everything's kind of drifting around. And just The fact that she can sing like that when she's swinging around on a pogo stick that clearly requires a very tight core set of muscles and work is so impressive. This is fantastic stuff from the Australians. Definitely into qualifying. Actually, I also think is potentially in contention to win the semi-final altogether. I do think this is fantastic work from the Aussies.
Yeah, I think it surpassed a lot of the people that we had ahead of it in the potential winner states for the semi-final at least. I didn't feel like there were as many major changes as we've seen with maybe like a Hungary where it was like a complete, oh, now you've turned it around. But they didn't need to because Australia was so good on Sunday and now they brought it again today. Kate again was resting her vocals at times. I don't know which clip they're going to use for Eurovision.tv, but if she doesn't sound good, just know she can turn it out on a dime. So don't worry about that. She can kill it. She's being very, very smart. The entire thing is just magical. It's magical, and it is one of the best stagings I think we've ever seen at Eurovision. I go back and forth on whether I like seeing the polls. I go back and forth because I'm like, you're kind of ruining the majesty and the magicalness of it by showing how you're doing it. But then I think back to Benjamin Ingrosso, and I'm like, maybe it's a good thing that you do that.
It shows the stagecraft, the innovation in a weird way.
Exactly.
And it doesn't bother me at all. And if anything, it makes me admire the fact that, you know, yes, this woman is singing. She's not on a string. Because for a moment I was like, did they tie her up there? Who's swinging her? But no, she's actually controlling it. It's just so impressive. I think there are certain moments in Eurovision history that define Eurovision, like Lorene's stage performance. I feel like this could be another one. This is like next level augmented reality. Well done to Paul, Steph, Nikita, Miriam, all y'all, Kate. Yes, SBS, honey. In any case, final country in this section. Who is it?
Iceland.
Ooh, ain't no ice here. That was fire. There was fire. This is leather, pleather, fantasy. Again, camera cuts are better. Artists more confident. It's just tight. Everything is tighter. And given their wardrobe, I'm pretty sure they like that, okay? And there's lots of smoke and fire. It's like the vision of hell that they sing about comes to life with smoke and fire. I think that Matthias and Clemens they're just more confident vocally.
Yeah.
You know, during the pre-party season, they definitely worked out the kinks, and now they've arrived at a you see what I did there? But now they've arrived at a comfortable place. I'm just really excited for them. I want to see how high they can take this. I also really love, and I haven't mentioned this before, this man who stands on the grenade or the earth with the pole. I guess he's Satan or something. He's like banging and clanging. Do you know what I mean? He's like going whoosh. That's also real scary. It's very Grim Reaper horror story, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, the kinky band from Iceland knocked it out of the park for me today. I did think this was fantastic. And also this looks more polished, right? I think the first rehearsal, some of it felt incongruous. It wasn't necessarily clear if people were actually meant to be walking in a place or if they just strutted off in that direction. Whereas now there's choreography to it. They're hitting their camera angles. They also, in a really similar way to Georgia, and again, it makes absolutely no sense, they've lost the aggression without losing the aggression. It somehow feels less off-putting without still losing the fact that, you know, these are guys running around the stage in PVC and harnesses screaming at you. And yet somehow it's palatable, digestible, something you can engage in and get behind. And I think it has this weird sense. There was the mood today in the press and it's like, it feels like they are gaining momentum in a way that they weren't in pre-party season, and there is sort of a movement behind them. I mean, watch me get egg on my face next week in the semi-final. But I do think this moment, the final run with Pyro looks so polished, so expensive, and so together. You know, this is not a novelty Eurovision act. It is a deadly serious play to do well in the contest, and it came across really well. I'm fully engaged and behind the kinky band from Iceland because every time I pronounce it, I get notes on saying it. So
Hatari.
I'm not even going to try it because someone will tell me off. The bottom line is this was fantastic.
Apparently the thrust goes on the first syllable.
Speaking of thrust, Clemens' little hip thrust in that first bit, it's like, oh my, like...
He is kinky.
And Matthias was showing a lot more flesh today as well, which again, they know what they're doing. They're being provocative, and you know, whether you necessarily agree with what they say and how they say it, they're making you talk about them. That's the main thing. And provocateurs, and they're doing it so well. But not only that, they're actually bringing it with a performance as well. You know, everybody is going to be talking about them because of the performance on Tuesday. Really, really strong. I like the fact that it seemed very DIY today because Einar's hammer, I think he made out of duct tape like moments before. So I don't know quite what's going on. I liked the whip flogger thing that he had going on before, but hey, whatever works.
I only noticed today with the dancer, in between his legs, there's like a slit.
Yeah.
Like a strategically placed slit. There's so much detail here, and the more you look and the more you watch, the more you're like, oh. Or perhaps some people are like, yeah, but it's just, you know, it's all very quirky and interesting. In any case, those are the 3 countries we've just seen. What do you think? Are any of these the winners? Are you like, OMG, Georgia, a qualifier? Yeah, y'all better get ready. This could happen. Let us know here on wiwibloggs.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like in the comments, let us know what you think about those 3 countries, and hit the notification bell. Why would you want to miss another video from wiwibloggs?
You can follow us on the live stream or in our social media. All the links are in the description box below.
It's more important than ever. And what's also important is your family's history. Be sure to visit My Heritage. That's My Heritage to learn more. We'll see you later. Bye!